What if I told you there's a fruit that grows glued to the trunk like living bubbles? Or a vegetable shaped like a perfect spiral, as if designed by aliens? Today, you'll discover 15 fruits and vegetables so strange they look like they came from another planet. Some smell terrible, others seem to have tentacles, and every single one of them is real. Stay tuned, because what you're about to see, you'll never forget. Number 1. Jabuticaba, Plinia cauliflora. Imagine walking through a tropical forest and suddenly coming across a tree covered, not in leaves, not in flowers, but in shiny black spheres sprouting directly from the trunk. No, it's not a plague, nor a genetic experiment. It's the jabuticaba, one of the strangest and most fascinating fruits on Earth. Native to Brazil, the jabuticaba challenges everything we think we know about how fruits grow. It doesn't dangle from branches, it doesn't sprout among leaves. It clings as if it were part of the tree's own skin. It literally looks like the trunk is growing eyes. Some call it the inverted bunch. Others, more dramatic, say it looks like an alien infection. But once you dare to taste it, everything changes. Inside, it's juicy, translucent, with a texture reminiscent of grapes, but with a more complex flavor. Sweet, with a faint acidic touch and an aroma that grabs you. In fact, its taste is so exquisite that in Brazil it's not only eaten fresh, it's also used to make jams, wines, and artisanal liqueurs. The strangest part is its speed. Unlike most fruits, jabuticaba ripens very quickly, but it also spoils in just a few days. That's why finding it outside South America is nearly impossible. The fruit simply doesn't have time to travel. It's a jewel you have to enjoy in its homeland, right under the very tree that bore it. And as you look at it, growing like black pearls on a rough trunk, you can't help but wonder, how can something so bizarre, so unconventional, so out of place, be so perfect? We continue exploring fruits and vegetables that seem from another planet. The next one is even stranger. Number 2, Romanesco, Brassica olorosa. If you ever thought nature doesn't understand geometry, it's because you haven't met Romanesco yet. This vegetable, cousin of broccoli and cauliflower, looks like it was created by a supercomputer obsessed with perfection. With its hypnotic neon green color and a spiral structure that repeats again and again. Romanesco is not just edible, it's a masterclass in mathematics with every bite. Its shape isn't random. It's based on a fractal pattern, a geometric structure that repeats at different scales. In other words, every little peak is a miniature version of the whole. And that's not just a visual trick, it's a mathematical formula made flesh, or rather, made plant. Some scientists describe it as a living example of the golden ratio. But when you see it, the only thought that comes to mind is, this can't be natural. Some alien intelligence must have designed it. But the most astonishing part is that it is natural. It has been growing in Italian fields for centuries, though the world has only recently begun to notice it. And it's not only beautiful, it's also delicious. Its flavor is milder than broccoli, with a hint of nuttiness, and it can be eaten cooked, roasted, or even raw. In recent years, it's become a social media phenomenon. Some photograph it as if it were a sculpture. Others simply can't believe something so perfect is real. And of course, many compare it to digital landscapes as if it were a 3D render straight out of a video game. But no, it's real. It grows in the soil. And it's only the second vegetable wonder that looks like it came from another planet. Ready to see what's next? What comes now? Looks like it escaped from a secret laboratory. Number 3, monkey hand or akebi, Akebia quinata. Deep in the Japanese mountains, when summer fades and autumn begins to paint the trees red, a fruit appears so peculiar it seems like a sign from beyond. Its name is akebi, though many know it as the monkey hand. And when you see it for the first time, you understand why. Picture an elongated pod, grayish-purple in color, that splits open on its own as soon as it ripens, as if it had a life of its own. Inside, a shiny, gelatinous pulp filled with tiny black seeds floating like eyes. It's no exaggeration to say it looks like a freshly extracted alien organ. Its appearance causes surprise, and sometimes a little discomfort. But in Japan, especially in the Tohoku region, this fruit is a treasure. The inside, soft and slippery, is eaten raw. It has a sweet, delicate flavor with a faint herbal note. But the most surprising part is that the peel, the purple skin that opens like a sai, is also eaten, but only cooked. It's stuffed with meat, miso, or vegetables, then fried or stir-fried, creating a perfect contrast between bitter and sweet. For centuries, akebi was a wild fruit found only in the forests. Today, though it's cultivated in small quantities, it's still considered a culinary rarity. The Japanese associate it with the change of seasons, with the nostalgia of summer fading and the promise of what's to come. Akebi is not just strange on the outside, it's also symbolic. It's a fruit that opens on its own when it's ready. That shows what it holds without fear. And that reminds us silently that the strangest beauty sometimes lies in what dares to break open. Number 4. Jackfruit, Artocarpus heterophyllus. Now imagine a tree that, instead of flowers or apples, produces massive green beasts hanging from its branches. We're not talking about just any fruit. We're talking about jackfruit, the largest fruit in the world that grows on a tree. And when we say large, it's no exaggeration. It can weigh over 35 kilos, grow longer than half a meter, and dangle like a sack of alien seeds waiting to burst open. On the outside, it looks like a vegetal armor. Its skin is covered with hard, pointy bumps, as if it were the shell of some prehistoric animal. When you touch it, you don't feel softness. You feel resistance. It looks designed to protect something very valuable. And that's exactly the case. Because inside, jackfruit hides a secret that has fascinated both the botanical and culinary worlds. Once opened, it reveals a vibrant yellow interior, made of multiple fleshy pods that come apart like thick fingers. Its texture resembles shredded chicken or cooked pork, which is why it has been adopted as a plant-based meat substitute in many vegan and vegetarian cuisines. In tacos, burgers, or stews, jackfruit has proven that a fruit can win over even the most skeptical meat lovers. But there's more. Its flavor, slightly sweet and perfumed, falls somewhere between pineapple, banana, and mango. And while some adore it, others can't stand its smell when it's very ripe. A dilemma it curiously shares with another fruit we saw in the first part, durian. Jackfruit is imposing, nutritious, and versatile. And above all, it looks like a creature from another world, one that decided to hide its flesh beneath an impenetrable armor. 5. Bitter melon, Momordica carantia. Some vegetables seem to shout from afar, "Don't eat me!" And one of them is, without a doubt, the bitter melon, also called bitter gourd, or Momordica carantia. Its appearance is puzzling, a long, wrinkled cucumber-like shape, with a bright green color that almost looks artificial, as if someone had painted it with a highlighter. But the most shocking thing isn't how it looks, it's how it tastes. This vegetable is famous, or infamous, for its extreme bitterness. And it's not a gentle or elegant bitterness, like black coffee. Number. It's a direct punch to the palate, a kind of biological warning disguised as flavor. For many, it's simply inedible. But for millions of people across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, it's a medicinal treasure. For centuries, bitter melon has been a key part of traditional medicine in countries like India, China, and the Philippines. It's believed to help lower blood sugar, improve digestion, and even strengthen the immune system. In fact, in many Asian households, it's prepared in soups, stir-fries, or teas, not so much for its taste, but for its benefits. Curiously, despite its name and flavor, it's neither a cucumber nor a melon. It belongs to the cucurbit family, the same as pumpkins and zucchinis. But among them all, it's the rebel, the odd one out, the one that decided being delicious wasn't its priority, but being useful. When you see it at the market, it looks like a vegetable twisting in on itself, as if caught mid-transformation. Its rough surface and spiky ends make it look more like a creature than a food. And yet, there it is, strange healthy, and with a vegetal personality as strong as its flavor. But if you thought this was odd, wait until you see what's next. A fruit that's explosive in every sense. 6. Challah fruit or Pandanus, Pandanus tectorius. If you've ever imagined what a mutant pineapple from another planet might look like, the answer lies in a little known but absolutely mesmerizing fruit. The challah fruit, also called Pandanus. This fruit, native to the Pacific Islands, doesn't grow to please the palate, but to dazzle the eyes. At first glance, it looks like a giant pineapple frozen in the middle of a color explosion. Its shape is spherical, but instead of a uniform rind, it's made up of dozens of elongated segments, locally called keys or cones. Each one looks like a little bomb, pointy at one end and bright orange at the other, like a plant missile about to launch. And in fact, that's what they do. They fall off one by one, dropping from the mother fruit as if escaping of their own free will. Pandanus isn't just a visual curiosity. For many island communities, it's essential to daily life. Some parts of the fruit are eaten, others chewed for their sweetness, and others used medicinally. Its long fibrous leaves are also used to make roofs, baskets, and saltwater-resistant weavings. What's most striking, though, is how extraterrestrial it looks. There's nothing in a regular supermarket that compares to it. It's a fruit that, when you see it, makes you stop. Wonder. Question. Is it edible? Dangerous? Real? In traditional Polynesian art, it's represented as a symbol of life and fertility. And it's no wonder. Its presence is imposing, its design fascinating, and its very existence seems almost impossible. The challah fruit doesn't just look like it came from another planet. It looks designed by a civilization that understood nature can also be art. 7. Rambutan, Nephelium lapaceum. Get ready to meet a fruit that looks straight out of a science fiction movie. The rambutan. Its name sounds exotic, but what really stuns is its surreal appearance. Imagine a strawberry, but covered in long, flexible hairs, as if hundreds of tiny tentacles were sprouting from its skin. It's glossy, reddish, with yellow or green highlights. And the first thought that comes to mind when you see it is, can you actually eat that? The answer is yes. And not only can you eat it, it's one of the juiciest, sweetest fruits in Southeast Asia. Of course, you first have to dare to open it. Once you get past its hairy skin, which by the way doesn't sting or hurt, you find a translucent sphere that looks like an organic gem. Its texture is similar to lychee, soft and moist, like a very plump grape. The moment you taste it, a sweet, refreshing, slightly acidic flavor floods your mouth. A tropical explosion that has nothing to do with its outer appearance. Curiously, its name makes sense. Rambut means hair in Malay. And this fruit isn't shy about what it is. Hairy on the outside, delicious on the inside. In many cultures, it represents the duality between appearance and essence, between the strange and the pleasurable. It's also rich in vitamin C, iron, and antioxidants. In some regions, the seed is roasted and eaten like a nut. Even its rind is used in natural dyes and traditional medicine, but its most fascinating feature is still its look. When you see several rambutans together, it feels like staring at an alien colony of living fruits. Something that seems to move, even when it's still. And if you thought that was strange, get ready for what's next. A vegetable shaped like a snake, literally. 8. Snake gourd, Trichosanthes cucumarina. If you were walking through a forest in India and saw a long twisted shape hanging from a vine, you might think it was a snake resting among the leaves. But on closer look, you'd see it doesn't move, doesn't hiss, doesn't strike, because it's not an animal. It's the snake gourd. Also known as Trichosanthes cucumarina, this vegetable is one of the most surprising examples of how nature plays with form to trick the human eye. It can grow longer than a meter, and its thin, curved body gives it an unsettlingly reptilian look at first sight. Some specimens even coil around themselves, as if preparing to strike. The strangest part is that, despite its unusual appearance, it's completely edible and highly valued in traditional Indian cooking, where it's known as chichinda or padwal. It's used in curries, stews, and stir-fries, and its flavor is mild, similar to zucchini but with a fresher note. This mutant cucumber doesn't just grab attention for its shape. It's also admired for its resilience. It thrives in warm climates with seasonal rains and adapts well to poor soils. It's a hardy plant, as if its serpentine appearance came with an indomitable vegetable personality. On top of that, some cultures believe it has medicinal properties. It's said to help with digestive issues, and its juice is used to reduce fever. A medicinal vegetable, shaped like a reptile. It sounds like a joke, but it's real. The snake gourd is living proof that not everything that looks dangerous actually is. And sometimes the tastiest things come disguised as the strangest. But don't get too comfortable. What's next looks like a fruit trapped inside a magic lantern. 9. Cape gooseberry, Physalis peruviana. Imagine finding a fruit hidden inside a magic lantern. That's exactly what the Cape gooseberry looks like, also known as Physalis peruviana. This little golden marvel doesn't just surprise with its flavor, but with its mysterious wrapping. At first glance, it looks like an artifact left behind by some ancient civilization, or a miniature space capsule. It comes wrapped in a dry, translucent husk, like rice paper, which opens like a withered flower to reveal inside a bright, perfectly round golden sphere. The contrast between the crisp, opaque shell and the glowing, vibrant interior is simply hypnotic. When you open it, you hold in your hand a cherry-sized fruit with a flavor that defies logic, sweet and tart at the same time, as if the universe couldn't decide whether to make it a dessert or a condiment. Native to South America, especially Peru and Colombia, this fruit has conquered the world with its exotic charm and nutritional power. It's rich in vitamin C, antioxidants, and beta-carotene. But its most astonishing feature remains its appearance, a botanical capsule that looks like it contains a miniature planet. In many countries, it's known as golden berry, and it's not unusual to see it used as decoration in gourmet dishes. But in truth, its uses go far beyond garnish. It becomes jam, it's caramelized, paired with chocolate, or eaten raw, delivering that unexpected mix of freshness and acidity. It's as if nature decided to wrap up a treasure and leave it floating in the air, suspended in dry leaves, waiting to be discovered. And speaking of the unexpected, what comes next is a fruit that bleeds blue ink. 10. Noni, Morinda citrifolia. Some fruits seduce with their aroma, and then there's noni, one of the most controversial and strange fruits in the plant world. Those who dare to approach it do so out of conviction, not pleasure, because noni doesn't smell good. In fact, its odor is so strong, so penetrating, and so unpleasant that many compare it to rancid cheese, dirty socks, or rotting fruit. Plain and simple. But if you manage to ignore that first olfactory assault, you'll find a fruit that looks like a botched creation, as if someone had tried to cross a potato covered in warts with a sick pineapple. Its texture is soft, its color a creamy yellowish tone, covered in lumps that seem to warn you, "Don't touch me." And yet, in many cultures across the Pacific, Asia, and the Caribbean, noni is considered a gift from nature. Despite its appearance and stench, this fruit has been used for centuries in traditional Polynesian medicine. It's credited with anti-inflammatory, pain-relieving, detoxifying, and even anti-cancer properties. It's consumed as juice, in capsules, or even fermented for days in a process that makes it even more intense, both in flavor and smell. This is not a fruit for everyone. Noni doesn't aim to please you. It aims to heal you. It's the perfect example that what's useful isn't always pretty, nor does it always smell good. Its taste, by the way, also divides opinions. Some say it's bitter and disgusting. Others claim that once you get past the initial shock, it becomes almost addictive. Noni is proof that in nature, there are fruits not made for pleasure, but for purpose. And sometimes that purpose is healing. But not everything is bitterness. What comes next looks like a giant banana, but it's not what you think. 11. Enset or false banana, Enseta ventricosum. At first glance, it looks like a giant, deformed banana, like it mutated after a radioactive storm. Its trunk is imposing, its leaves enormous, and its fruit simply not edible. This is the enset, also known as the false banana. And although it looks similar to the common banana, it couldn't be more different. Native to Ethiopia, enset isn't cultivated for its fruit, but for its hidden interior. Because its true value isn't visible. It lies in the heart of its trunk and its roots. From there, a fibrous, starchy pulp is extracted, which after fermenting for weeks or even months becomes a staple food. Kocho, a type of flatbread baked underground, and consumed as a base of the Ethiopian diet. Curiously, it's not eaten raw, nor cooked like fruit. Its flavor isn't sweet, and its texture isn't friendly. It's tough, almost woody, and yet it's so resilient, so adaptable, and so nourishing that it's known as the hunger plant. In times of drought or crisis, enset remains there, steadfast, waiting to be processed. Its appearance is deceiving. Its leaves resemble those of the banana, and its size is gigantic, reaching over 6 meters in height. But if you judge it from the outside, you'll be fooled. Because this isn't any banana. It's a plant designed by evolution to survive, and to help others survive. Enset is a symbol of resilience, of ancestral use, and of complete resourcefulness. And although it seems like it comes from a land where fruits aren't eaten, but worked, preserved, and respected, its cultural importance makes it a true Ethiopian treasure. But now we move to the other extreme, a fruit with scales, and a custard flavor. 12. Cherimoya, Annona cherimola. Its shape resembles a vegetal heart. Its skin looks like it's covered in green scales, as if it were a sleeping reptile. And its interior is pure edible silk. This is the cherimoya, one of the strangest, and at the same time most beloved fruits in the world. So much so that none other than Mark Twain once called it the most delicious fruit known to man. And he was right. Native to the Andean valleys of Peru and Ecuador, cherimoya doesn't look like it belongs on this planet. Its exterior is intriguing. Rounded, light green, covered in patterns resembling scales or fingerprints. It isn't smooth, nor uniform. It's as if someone had designed it without knowing whether to create a fruit or a mythical creature. But the real surprise comes when you open it. Its white, creamy flesh is almost like a natural dessert. Its texture is reminiscent of melted ice cream, with a flavor that fuses the best of many fruits at once. A bit of banana, a touch of pineapple, the freshness of melon, and the sweetness of strawberry. A combination that seems unreal, but isn't. It's eaten with a spoon, like a plant-based custard. And yes, it has large, shiny black seeds that must be avoided. But the experience of tasting it is so unique that it's worth every second. In some cultures, it's called custard apple due to its soft, comforting consistency. And in Latin American markets, when the season arrives, it becomes a small celebration. Cherimoya is proof that strange can be not only beautiful, but also delicious. It's as if nature had tried to design the perfect dessert, hid it inside a scaly shell, and left us a clue. Only the curious will find it. But get ready. What comes next looks like garlic. But it's a tropical fruit. 13. Langsat, or Lancium domesticum. At first glance, you might mistake it for a quail egg. Small, round, with a dull yellow peel, Langsat doesn't seem to have much to offer. But peel it open, and you'll discover one of the strangest and most delightful tropical surprises of Southeast Asia. Its inside is unexpected, a translucent pulp divided into segments that looks strikingly like a clove of raw garlic. Yes, garlic. The comparison is unavoidable, but that's where the similarities end. Because instead of a strong, pungent taste, Langsat delivers a gentle citrus burst, sweet with a slight acidity, refreshing, and incredibly easy to eat. It's as if a sweet lemon had hidden itself inside a boring shell, waiting for the curious to uncover it. Native to Malaysia and Indonesia, this fruit grows in hanging clusters that look like little yellow grapes. Its skin, though thin, exudes a sticky latex when broken, making peeling a bit messy. But absolutely worth it once you taste what's inside. The strangest part is that some segments contain bitter seeds. So eating langsat is a bit of a gamble. You never know which piece will be sweet and which will make you frown. But that only adds to the mystery of this already enigmatic fruit. In local markets, it's sold fresh, but also dried, preserved in syrup, or turned into candy. And those who know it well insist langsat isn't just tasty, it's addictive. It's the kind of fruit that doesn't seek attention from the stall. It doesn't shine, it doesn't flaunt impossible colors, nor dramatic shapes. But once you try it, you understand. Sometimes the extraordinary hides beneath the ordinary. And speaking of deceptive appearances, what comes next looks like a prehistoric root. 14. Tarocorm, Colocasia esculenta. If you ever stumbled upon it in the middle of the forest, you might think it was the fossilized remains of some ancient creature, or perhaps the root of a 1,000-year-old tree. The tarocorm doesn't impress with beauty, but with an ancestral strangeness. With its irregular shape, fibrous, scaly skin, and earthy tones, it looks more like an archaeological artifact than something you dare put in your mouth. But beneath that rustic, almost prehistoric exterior, taro hides a millennia-old story and an incalculable value. It is a sacred tuber in many Pacific cultures, from Hawaii to Fiji, and has been cultivated for thousands of years as an essential food. However, there's a curious and slightly dangerous detail. Tarocorms cannot be eaten raw. They contain calcium oxalate crystals that can cause extreme irritation in the mouth and throat. Only when cooked, steamed, boiled, or fried does taro transform. Its flesh takes on a creamy texture, similar to a potato, but with a sweeter, nuttier flavor. It's used to make everything from purees to desserts, and even breads and porridges. In Hawaii, for example, it's turned into the famous poi, a traditional dish central to ceremonies and celebrations. But beyond its taste and versatility, what makes tarocorm so fascinating is their almost extraterrestrial look. They don't resemble anything you'd find in a regular supermarket. It's as if nature left behind a vegetal clue from the past, a reminder that evolution also creates shapes that feel out of this world. And speaking of strange forms, what comes next is round, full of eyes, and not a mutant potato. It's something even more curious. 15. Passion fruit or purple maracuya, Passiflora edulis. At first glance, it doesn't stand out. In fact, when ripe, purple passion fruit looks like a wrinkled little ball, with rough, opaque skin that seems spoiled or overripe. But that unattractive appearance is just an evolutionary trick, because when you open it, you discover one of the most surprising and alien interiors of the plant kingdom. Inside, a bright yellow gelatinous mass surrounds dozens of glossy black seeds. It looks like a cross between extraterrestrial caviar and the eggs of some unknown sea creature. Many hesitate the first time they see it, but those who dare to taste it discover a unique flavor: tart, sweet, exotic, and intensely aromatic. This fruit, native to South America, belongs to the passion flower family. Yet it's so distinctive that it has conquered the entire world. In juices, desserts, mousses, cocktails, or sauces, passion fruit is a tropical treasure that transforms any recipe. The curious part is that while its taste is associated with pleasure and freshness, its appearance evokes the opposite: confusion and even distrust. In many cultures, passion fruit also carries symbolic and spiritual meaning. 16th century missionaries named it this way because they saw in its flower references to the crucifixion of Christ. But beyond the name, its true value lies in that powerful contrast between ugly and delicious, strange and irresistible. Like many fruits on this list, passion fruit proves that not everything beautiful lies on the outside. Sometimes, nature's true gems come disguised as rubble, only to surprise you with an unforgettable experience. And what comes next looks like both a fruit and a flower at the same time, literally.